alien dragon tormented by ages of thirst pleads, to a human girl for water. Part 1. Maya stood at the entrance of the ancient structure, her helmet light cutting through darkness that had lasted millions of years. The air inside registered as breathable, which made no sense. This moon had no atmosphere worth mentioning, yet somehow the alien building maintained pressure and oxygen levels as if waiting for visitors who would never come. She was 24 years old, fresh out of xenobiology certification, and this was supposed to be a simple survey mission. Map the structure, take samples, report back. Nothing dangerous, nothing complicated. Her team leader had been very clear about that during the morning briefing. But the moment Maya stepped through the doorway, she knew something was different about this place. The walls hummed with energy her scanner couldn't identify. Symbols covered every surface, shifting and changing when she looked directly at them, as if the language itself was alive. "Maya, what's your status?" The voice crackled in her earpiece. Team leader probably worried she'd gotten lost already. "I'm fine. The structure is stable, moving deeper into the main corridor." She kept her voice steady and professional, even though her heart hammered against her ribs. "Remember, we're just surveying. Don't touch anything, don't activate anything, just look and record." "Understood." Maya moved forward, her boots silent on floors that showed no wear despite their age. The structure had been dated to 47,000 years old, minimum. Older than human civilization, older than human agriculture, old enough that whoever built it had turned to dust long before the first human ever looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. The corridor opened into a vast chamber that made Maya stop and stare. It was enormous, at least 200 meters across, with a ceiling so high her light couldn't reach it. But that wasn't what made her breath catch in her throat. In the center of the chamber stood a crystal prison. That was the only way to describe it. A massive structure of crystalline material that pulsed with blue-white light, and inside it something moved. Something huge. Maya's scanner went wild, numbers scrolling faster than she could read them, energy readings off the charts, biological signatures that made no sense, radiation that should have killed her instantly but somehow remained contained within the crystal walls. "You need to see this." Maya's voice came out as a whisper. "See what?" Maya, talk to me. "There's something alive in here, something big. It's in some kind of prison." Silence on the other end. Then's voice, sharp and commanding. "Do not approach it, do not touch anything. We're coming to your location, stay where you are." But Maya was already walking forward. She couldn't help it. Something about the crystal pulled at her, called to her in a way that had nothing to do with sound. Later, she would wonder if the creature inside had reached out to her mind, but in that moment, she simply moved toward it because stopping felt impossible. As she got closer, she could make out details. The thing inside the prison was shaped like a dragon from Earth legends, but wrong in ways that made it clearly alien. Its body stretched at least 50 meters from nose to tail, covered in scales that looked like polished obsidian. But the scales were translucent, and beneath them moved patterns of light that reminded Maya of stars. The creature's wings were folded against its sides, membranes so thin she could see through them, filled with what looked like nebulae swirling in miniature. The dragon's head turned toward her, and Maya saw its eyes. They were the color of dying suns, orange and red and full of something that made her chest ache. Pain. Suffering that had lasted so long it had worn grooves into the creature's very soul. Then the voice hit her mind like a wave. "Water," the word crashed through her thoughts, desperate and broken. "Please, water, thirst, ages of thirst, cannot hold." Maya stumbled, pressing her hands to her helmet. The voice wasn't sound. It bypassed her ears entirely and spoke directly into her consciousness. Images flooded through her mind. Oceans boiling away, rivers turning to dust, a throat that burned with fire that never ended, thirst that had lasted for 47,000 years without even the mercy of death. "What are you?" Maya whispered. Heron, the name came with more images, stars being born, comets seeded with organic compounds, young worlds being shepherded toward life. Guardian, protector, they called us, star drakes. Who imprisoned you? A flash of rage quickly suppressed. The Dominion Collective. They wanted to harvest young worlds before life could evolve. We stood in their way. They trapped us, drained us, left us to suffer until we faded into nothing. Maya saw it then, in the images Heron shared. An empire of cruel efficiency that strip-mined planets for resources, that saw life as inconvenient and beauty as irrelevant. They had hunted the star drakes across the galaxy, imprisoning them in crystals specifically designed to drain their energy slowly, keeping them conscious through every moment of torment. "How long have you been without water?" Maya asked, though part of her already knew the answer. "Since they sealed me here, 47,000 of your years, my kind. We need water to maintain form. Without it we dissolve, become nothing but scattered energy, mindless, gone." The dragon's mental voice cracked with exhaustion. "I am so close to fatting. Just a little longer and I will finally be free of this." "Free, you mean dead?" Yes, the word carried relief and sorrow in equal measure. Death would be mercy. Death would be water for a thirst this old. Maya's team was probably minutes away. Would order her to step back, to wait for military specialists, to treat this as a potential threat. And maybe that was the smart thing to do. Maybe releasing an alien creature of unknown power was dangerous and stupid, and exactly the kind of thing that got survey teams killed in cautionary tales. But Maya looked at those eyes, saw the suffering in them, and knew she couldn't walk away. "The crystal prison. There must be controls. Can you show me how to open it?" Heron's entire body shuddered. "You would free me. Why? You do not know me. I could be dangerous. I could be lying about everything." "Maybe, but if you're telling the truth, then you've been tortured for 47,000 years for the crime of protecting life. That's not right. That's not something I can walk away from." "Your people will be angry." "Probably, but I'd be angrier at myself if I left you here to suffer." The Stardrake stared at her for a long moment. Then images flooded Maya's mind. A control panel on the far side of the chamber, symbols that would need to be pressed in sequence, warnings about energy discharge. The knowledge came with a feeling that made Maya's throat tight, gratitude, hope, and underneath it, fear that she would change her mind. Maya ran to the control panel. Her fingers moved over the symbols, pressing the sequence Heron had shown her. The crystal began to hum, the sound building until it felt like it would shake her teeth loose. Behind her, she heard running footsteps, her team, arriving too late to stop her. "Maya, what are you doing?" shouted. "Something right," Maya said, and pressed the final symbol. The crystal shattered with a sound like thunder. Energy exploded outward in a wave that knocked Maya off her feet. Fragments of crystal scattered across the chamber floor, already dissolving into mist, and in the center of it all, Heron unfurled. The Stardrake rose to its full height, wings spreading wide, head lifted toward the ceiling. For a moment, Maya saw what it must have been once. Magnificent, terrible, a being of cosmic power and ancient purpose. Light spilled from between its scales, patterns of stars swirling beneath its skin. Then Heron collapsed. The dragon hit the ground hard, body flickering between solid matter and pure energy. Its form wavered, losing coherence, edges blurring into nothing. The mental voice that touched Maya's mind was barely a whisper. Too weak, too long, should have faded years ago, held on too long, stupid to hope. Maya's team scattered, running for the exits, shouting into their communicators about containment breaches and potential threats. Grabbed Maya's arm, trying to pull her away, but Maya shook him off and ran toward the dying Stardrake instead. "Maya, get back here. That thing is unstable, it could explode." Maya didn't listen. She skidded to her knees beside Heron's massive head, reaching out to touch scales that felt like warm glass. The dragon's eye opened, focusing on her with difficulty. "You wanted water," Maya said. She reached for her belt and unclipped her canteen. Standard issue holding maybe 2 liters. Nothing. A drop in the ocean. Insignificant for a being this vast. But it was what she had and she offered it anyway. Maya unscrewed the cap with shaking hands and poured the water over what she thought might be Heron's snout. The liquid ran down obsidian scales, catching the light, each drop reflecting stars. For a moment, nothing happened. Maya felt stupid. What had she expected? That a canteen of water would save a creature dying from 47,000 years of thirst. Then Heron's entire body shuddered, and light blazed from within. Part 2. The water touched Heron's scales and something impossible happened. The stardrake's form stabilized, edges becoming solid again, the dangerous flickering between matter and energy slowing and then stopping entirely. The dragon's eye, which had been dim and fatting, suddenly blazed with renewed light. Maya felt the change in her mind too. Heron's mental voice, which had been barely a whisper, grew stronger. What is this?" "It's just water," Maya said, confused by the dragon's reaction. "From my canteen. I know it's not much, but—" "No, you do not understand." Heron's head lifted slightly, nostrils flaring as if breathing in the scent of the water still running down its scales. "Stardrakes do not simply drink water. We experience it. Water is memory made liquid. Every molecule carries the story of every world it touched, every being it sustained. We taste the history of planets in a single drop." Maya stared at the dragon, trying to understand. "But this water, your water," Heron's mental voice filled with something like wonder. "It carries more than memory. It carries intention, choice. You gave this to me freely from your own supply, knowing your people would need it, knowing you might need it. The molecular bonds themselves are different, shaped by kindness." "I don't understand. Water is just hydrogen and oxygen. Chemistry doesn't change based on feelings." "For your people, perhaps not, but I experience existence at the quantum level. I feel the probability clouds of electrons, the spin states of atoms, the way particles entangle across space and time." The dragon shifted, gaining strength with each passing second. "And in your water I feel you. Your compassion. Your choice to help even when it cost you something. That intention has power. More power than an ocean given grudgingly." His voice cut through the moment. "Maya, step away from it slowly. Military ships are on their way. We need to establish a safe perimeter." Maya looked back at her team leader. He stood at the chamber entrance with the rest of the survey team, weapons drawn, all of them looking terrified. She couldn't blame them. Heron was huge, alien, and clearly powerful. Every instinct said to run, to treat this as a threat. But Maya turned back to the dragon. "Are you going to hurt anyone?" "No," the answer came immediately, with such certainty that Maya felt it in her bones. "I have never harmed a thinking being except in defense of others. That is not what star drakes do. We are gardeners, not warriors." "Then stand up," Maya said quietly. "Show them you're not dangerous. Show them who you really are." Heron rose slowly, carefully, making sure not to knock Maya over with its movements. The dragon stretched its wings and Maya gasped. The membranes were beautiful, filled with swirling colors that looked like nebulae, like the birth of stars, like deep space itself captured and made into living tissue. "Thank you," Heron said into Maya's mind, the words gentle despite their power. "For 47,000 years I believed I would die in that prison, that no one would ever care enough to help. You proved me wrong." "What were you before they caught you?" Maya asked. "You said you were a guardian, a gardener. What does that mean?" Images flooded Maya's mind. She saw Heron flying through space without a ship, body wreathed in stellar fire, approaching young solar systems. She saw the dragon nudging comets onto new trajectories, seeding them with organic compounds that would eventually rain down on planets below. She saw Heron wrapping itself around a world threatened by a rogue asteroid, taking the impact with its own body to save the fragile ecosystem below. She saw dozens of star drakes working together, shepherding young worlds toward life, protecting biospheres too weak to defend themselves, nurturing the potential for consciousness wherever they found it. And she saw the Dominion Collective arrive. Ships by the thousands, strip-mining planets for resources, caring nothing for the life they destroyed. She saw the star drakes stand in their way, refusing to let the Dominion harvest worlds that had the potential for life. She saw the war that followed, saw star drakes hunted down one by one, not killed but imprisoned, because death would have been too kind. The Dominion wanted them to suffer, wanted them to fade slowly over, conscious through every moment, until their minds broke and their bodies dissolved into scattered energy. They tortured you for protecting life, Maya whispered, for defending worlds that couldn't defend themselves. Yes, and they would have succeeded if not for you. Heron lowered its head until one huge eye was level with Maya's face. Why did you help me? You are very young, even for your kind. You had everything to lose and nothing to gain. Because it was right, Maya said simply. Because leaving someone to suffer when you can help is wrong. It doesn't matter if they're human or alien or something else entirely. Pain is pain. Thirst is thirst. And 47,000 years of it. She shook her head. No one deserves that. The dragon's eye whirled with emotion. Your people are not ready for what I am about to tell you. Tell me anyway. We are not simply physical beings. We exist partially outside your normal spacetime. When you gave me water, when you showed me kindness, the act resonated across dimensions. It sent ripples through the quantum foam of reality itself. Heron paused. Other star drakes felt it. Maya's breath caught. You mean, there are others, you're not the last? I thought I was. I believed the Dominion had found us all, imprisoned us all, left us all to fade. But I was wrong. There are 3 others, hidden in hibernation so deep that even the Dominion's sensors could not find them. They have been sleeping for millions of years, waiting for a sign that it was safe to wake. And me giving you water was that sign. Yes, the resonance of your kindness, amplified through quantum entanglement, reached across the galaxy. They are waking now. They will come here. Before Maya could respond, alarms began blaring. Pressed a hand to his earpiece, his face going pale. Contacts in orbit, 3 of them, massive, not broadcasting any identification. They're just appearing, like they're phasing in from somewhere else. Heron's mental voice carried satisfaction. My brothers and sisters, coming to see if what they felt was real, coming to meet the human who freed one of us. The chamber shook. Outside, through the structure's ancient walls, Maya heard the scream of military ships dropping into the moon's thin atmosphere, was shouting into his communicator, trying to coordinate with the incoming fleet. Stand down. Unknown entities are approaching the structure. All personnel evacuate immediately. But Maya didn't move. She stayed beside Heron, one hand resting on the dragon's foreleg. What happens now? She asked quietly. Now we find out what your people are made of, Heron said. The Dominion Collective feared us because we represented a philosophy they could not accept. That power should be used to protect the weak, not exploit them. That advanced beings have a responsibility to nurture young civilizations, not harvest them. Your people are young. They stand at a crossroads. Will they choose to be gardeners like us, or will they choose to be harvesters like the Dominion? And this moment decides it. No, but it will reveal which path your hearts are inclined toward. The military ships arrived in force. Maya could hear them through the structure's walls, dozens of vessels taking up positions, weapons charging, commanders demanding that she step away from the alien threat. Grabbed her shoulder, trying physically to pull her back. Maya, you've done enough. Let the military handle this. Handle it how? Maya asked, not moving. By attacking. Heron hasn't hurt anyone, hasn't threatened anyone, just exists. Just wants to live after 47,000 years of torture. We don't know what it wants. We don't know what it can do. Then ask. Maya turned to face her team leader. Ask instead of assuming. Talk instead of shooting. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? We're scientists, not soldiers. Hesitated, and in that moment of doubt, everything changed. A plasma bolt streaked through the structure's entrance, fired by a ship outside. Some rogue officer who decided not to wait for orders. The bolt tore through the air, aimed directly at Maya, moving faster than thought. Heron moved faster. The Stardrake's wings snapped out, wrapping around Maya, pulling her against the dragon's body. The plasma bolt hit Heron's wing membrane instead, energy that could vaporize steel absorbed by living tissue. The dragon screamed, not into Maya's mind but out loud, a sound that shook the entire structure. The wing pulled back, revealing scorched tissue. The beautiful nebula patterns burned away, leaving char and pain. Heron collapsed again, the carefully restored strength drained away in a single desperate act. The dragon's form flickered, edges blurring back toward dissolution. Maya scrambled to Heron's head, tears streaming down her face. No, no, why did you do that? You needed that energy to survive. Because you gave me water when you did not have to. Heron's mental voice was fatting again. Because you showed kindness to a monster, because that deserves protection. You're not a monster, Maya shouted. You're not. The Stardrake's eye closed. Tell them, tell your people, kindness matters, choice matters, how you treat those who are different, that is what defines you. Stay with me, Maya begged. Please, I'll get more water. I'll get as much as you need, just hold on. But Heron was fatting fast. The dragon's body lost coherence, scales dissolving into mist, solid matter transforming into pure energy that scattered like smoke. Maya felt the mental connection breaking, the dragon's consciousness slipping away into darkness. And then was there, kneeling beside her, his own canteen in his hands. Here, he said roughly, it's not much, but... He poured his water over Heron's failing form. Then the others came. The survey team, approaching carefully, each one pulling out their water supplies and adding them to the growing pool around the dragon. 2 liters, 4, 6. Still nothing compared to what Heron needed, but given freely, given with understanding, given because they had seen what the dragon did to protect Maya. And high above, in orbit, the 3 awakened Stardrakes felt it. Felt the ripple of multiple acts of kindness. Felt humans choosing to give rather than take, to help rather than harm. The quantum foam of reality shivered with potential. Part 3. The water pooled around Heron's dissolving form, each person's contribution mingling with the others. Maya watched as the dragon's scales slowly began to solidify again, the dangerous flickering slowing down. But it wasn't enough. Heron needed more, and they had given all they had. It's not working fast enough, said quietly. How much water does something that size even need? Maya shook her head. She didn't know. She knew biology, understood chemistry, but Heron operated on principles that Earth science couldn't explain. How did you calculate the water needs of a being that existed partially outside normal spacetime? The answer came from an unexpected source. Perhaps individual offerings matter more than volume. The voice came from behind them. Maya turned to see 3 figures standing at the chamber entrance. They weren't human. They couldn't be mistaken for human. They stood on 2 legs, had 2 arms, but their proportions were wrong, their faces shaped differently, their skin carrying colors no human possessed. But they were people, thinking beings, and they were part of her team, though she'd barely spoken to them. 2 from the colonies and a trader who'd hired on as a cultural consultant. The female, whose name Maya struggled to remember, stepped forward with her water container. We heard what happened. We saw the recording of what the Stardrake did. That is not the action of a monster. She poured her water over Heron. The followed, then the other, more water, more offerings given freely. And with each addition, Heron's form grew stronger. They understand, the dragon's voice whispered into Maya's mind, weak but clearer than before. Not human, but still they understand. Kindness transcends species. Compassion needs no translation. Outside the structure, Maya could hear angry voices over the communication channels. The military fleet commander was furious about the unauthorized weapons discharge. The officer who fired was being arrested, but other voices joined the argument. Some wanted to press the attack, to destroy the alien creature before it could become a threat. Others wanted to wait to learn, to understand what they were dealing with before resorting to violence. And then a new voice cut through the chaos, broadcast on all frequencies. It bypassed the military channels entirely, patching through to every device capable of receiving signal. Every computer, every communicator, every screen within 100 million kilometers suddenly displayed the same image. The interior of the ancient structure, Maya kneeling beside Heron, the dragon wrapping its wing around her to shield her from the plasma bolt, the wing catching fire, the dragon collapsing, and the others coming forward with their water, offering what little they had to save the being that had saved Maya. Someone had recorded everything. Someone had broadcast it to every human colony in this sector of space, maybe further. Maya's communicator chimed, then chimed again, and again. Within seconds, it was overloaded with incoming messages. She pulled it out, staring at the screen in disbelief. Offers, thousands of them, tens of thousands. People across the colonies offering to send water, not industrial supplies or treatment plant outputs, personal offerings. Canteens and bottles and containers people used themselves, offered freely because they had seen what Heron did to protect one human who had shown it kindness. Maya's voice was shaken. They're coming. Ships are already launching from the nearest colonies. They're bringing water. Heron's eye opened, focusing on Maya. This is not possible. So many, so fast. Your people cannot all be this generous, this kind. We're not, Maya said honestly. We're capable of great cruelty. We've fought wars over resources, enslaved our own kind, destroyed ecosystems for profit. But we're also capable of this, of seeing suffering and wanting to help, of watching someone protect another and feeling like we should do something in return. The Dominion Collective would never do this, would never understand this. Then maybe that's why they lost in the end. Maybe that's why they're gone and you're still here. The first ships began arriving within hours. Small personal vessels, colony transports, even a few corporate freighters whose crews had decided to divert their routes. They landed outside the structure, and people emerged carrying containers of water. They didn't ask for permission from the military fleet. They didn't wait for authorization. They simply walked into the ancient structure and offered what they had brought. Maya stepped back, watching as a line formed. Humans, even a few of the reclusive trill from the outer colonies, each one approaching Heron, each one pouring their offering over the star drake's recovering form. And with each gift, Heron grew stronger. The dragon's scales, obsidian shining with inner light. The burnt wing membrane began to heal, new tissue forming, nebula patterns reappearing in the translucent surface. The star drake's body grew more solid, more real, until it seemed like nothing could make it fade again. But something else was happening too, something Maya felt before she understood it. A resonance building in the chamber, a vibration that started at the edge of hearing and grew stronger. The air itself seemed to shimmer with potential energy. 3 shapes materialized in the chamber's center, phasing into existence from somewhere else. 3 more star drakes, each one unique. One with scales like blue ice, another with patterns of gold and crimson, the third appearing to be made of liquid silver that flowed and reformed constantly. The newcomers stared at the scene before them. At Heron, recovering and strengthening with each passing moment. At the line of people, dozens of species, all offering water freely given. At Maya, standing at the center of it all, looking small and young and absolutely certain that this was right. The silver stardrake spoke directly into everyone's mind simultaneously, its mental voice ancient and powerful. We have been hiding for 3 million years. sleeping in the cold spaces between galaxies, afraid to wake, afraid the Dominion would find us again. And now we see this. We see you. The blue-scaled dragon approached Maya, lowering its head until they were eye to eye. You freed our brother. Why? Because he was suffering, Maya said. Because 47,000 years of thirst is torture. Because leaving someone to hurt when you can help is wrong. You did not know if he spoke the truth. You did not know if he would hurt you. You risked much on faith. Sometimes faith is all you have. The crimson stardrake moved through the crowd of water-bearers, studying them with ancient eyes. They did not have to come. They could have stayed in their homes, safe and comfortable. Yet they traveled here, bringing their own water, offering it freely to a being they never met. That's what people do, Maya said. At least it's what they do when they're trying to be good. We don't always succeed. We fail a lot, but we try. The four stardrakes gathered together, and Maya felt something pass between them. Not words, but understanding. A communication that operated on levels she couldn't perceive. Then they turned as one to face the gathered crowd. Heron spoke, its voice reaching every mind in the chamber and beyond. Transmitted through some means Maya didn't understand to every ship in orbit, every colony watching the broadcast. For 3 million years we have hidden. We believed our time was over, that the galaxy had no place for beings like us. The Dominion Collective taught us that kindness was weakness, that protecting the vulnerable made you a target, that power should be used to take, not to give. The dragon spread its wings, now fully healed, nebulae swirling in the membranes. But today, a young human proved the Dominion wrong. Today, hundreds of your people proved it wrong. You saw suffering and responded with compassion. You saw danger and chose courage. You saw difference and offered kindness. The silver stardrake stepped forward. We would like to propose something unprecedented. An alliance. A partnership. We are ancient. We know secrets of the cosmos your people have not yet dreamed of. We can teach you to move through space as we do, to perceive reality at quantum levels, to shepherd young worlds toward life as we once did. The blue-scaled dragon continued the thought. And in return, you can teach us what we have forgotten during our long sleep. How to hope, how to trust, how to believe that kindness matters even in a galaxy that often rewards cruelty. What about the Dominion? Someone in the crowd asked. You said they imprisoned you. Are they still out there? The Crimson Stardrake's mental voice carried warning. The Dominion Collective fell long ago. Their empire crumbled. But they left behind automated systems, artificial intelligences programmed to continue their mission. There are AI constructs still patrolling old Dominion territories, still hunting for stardrakes, still eliminating anything that might interfere with resource extraction. Heron looked at Maya. If your people ally with us, those systems will turn their attention to you as well. You will inherit our enemies. You will be marked as threats to be eliminated. The chamber fell silent. This was the cost, then, the price of partnership with the Stardrakes. Not just learning and growth, but danger. War with machines that had been designed to destroy anything that protected life over profit. Maya he looked back at her, uncertainty in his eyes. This wasn't a decision they could make. This was something that required consensus, that required thought and debate and careful consideration. But Maya also knew what her answer would be. If the choice is between profit and life, I choose life, she said quietly. If the choice is between being safe and being kind, I choose kindness. And if the choice is between standing alone or standing with beings who spent millions of years protecting worlds that couldn't protect themselves, I know where I want to stand. Was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled, tired and genuine. Well, we came out here to make first contact and learn about alien civilizations. I'd say we've succeeded beyond expectations. Laughter rippled through the crowd, breaking the tension. More people voiced their agreement. The N offered their support immediately. The colony representatives started discussing logistics. The military fleet commander, after a long pause, announced that his forces would provide protection while the alliance was formalized. Heron approached Maya again, and this time the dragon lowered its head until Maya could touch the scales between its eyes. "I would like to offer you something," the star drake said privately, its voice entering only Maya's mind. "A bond. It would allow you to perceive reality as I do, to see the quantum foam, to taste the history in water, to feel the probability clouds of particles. You would experience the universe as a star drake experiences it." "Why me?" Maya asked. "I just did what anyone should have done." "Exactly. You did what anyone should have done, yet few would. You are young enough to learn, brave enough to act, and kind enough to be trusted with this gift." The dragon paused. "You would be the first human drake friend. The first of a new tradition. Will you accept?" Maya thought about her life before this moment. Her simple survey mission. Her dreams of studying alien biology. Her hope of making some small difference in the galaxy. She had achieved all of that in a single day, in ways she never could have imagined. And now she was being offered more. A chance to be a bridge between species. A chance to see reality itself in new ways. A chance to be part of something larger than herself. She thought about the risks, the dangers, the way her life would change forever. She thought about the automated systems still out there, hunting for star drakes that would now hunt for her too. She thought about leaving behind the simple life she had known. Then she thought about Heron's eyes when she had first seen them, the suffering in them, the 47,000 years of thirst, the torture that would have continued forever if no one had cared enough to help. "Yes," Maya said, "I accept." Heron's scales began to glow. The dragon pressed its forehead against Maya's, and light flowed between them. Maya gasped as her perception expanded. Suddenly she could see more than visible light. She could perceive the electromagnetic spectrum in its entirety, could feel the gravitational waves rippling through spacetime, could sense the quantum entanglement connecting particles across the cosmos. She looked at the water pooled around Heron's feet and tasted the history in it. Oceans on distant worlds, rain on colonies, ice melting in the morning sun, and threaded through it all the intention of the givers, kindness made molecular, compassion written in hydrogen bonds. "I see it," Maya whispered. "I understand now. Water isn't just water, it's connection, it's memory, it's every world and every being it ever touched." "Yes, and now you can share that understanding with your people. You can teach them to see the universe as we see it, not as resources to be harvested, but as a garden to be tended." Maya opened her eyes, and they carried a new light. She looked at the people gathered in the chamber, at the star drakes standing together for the first time in millions of years, at the future unfolding before them all. 3 points of light appeared in orbit. The 3 other awakened star drakes, taking up positions around the moon. Guardian positions. Protection for the world below where humans and star drakes had chosen partnership over fear. "What happens now?" Maya asked Heron. The star drake's mental voice carried warmth and hope. "Now we teach you to be what we once were. Shepherds of young worlds, gardeners of stars, protectors of life.